Imagine walking into a dusty old barn where the air hangs heavy with the scent of forgotten dreams and shattered lives, where one glance could change everything. But most people just laugh and look away. Picture this. It's a sweltering afternoon in rural Colorado, the kind where the sun beats down on cracked earth like an unrelenting drill sergeant. Our story begins at a forgotten livestock auction tucked away in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains, a place where horses, cattle, and yes, even dogs are paraded like yesterday's junk. The crowd's a mix of weathered ranchers, bargain hunters, and wide-eyed kids dreaming of ponies, but the atmosphere. It's thick with indifference, the kind that makes your stomach twist. Laughter echoes off the tin walls as the auctioneer bangs his gavel, hawking lot after lot. But then something stops the murmurs cold. Enter Jack Thompson, a retired Army veteran who's seen more hell in his 40 years than most folks could imagine. Jack didn't plan on being here. He was just swinging by for some fence wire and a used generator to fix up his isolated ranch. Deployments in Afghanistan left him with scars you can't see, nightmares that jolt him awake, a quiet rage at a world that moves on without you. He's been out of the service for years, trying to piece together a life in the wilderness, but old habits die hard. Spotting a faded flyer at the local feed store about the auction, he figured why not. Little did he know fate had other plans. In the center of that concrete ring lies Max, a once mighty Labrador retriever, now a shadow of himself. His golden coat is patchy and dull ribs jutting out like barbed wire under thin skin, and scars crisscross his flanks, jagged lines that scream of pain no animal should endure. Max doesn't even lift his head as the auctioneer calls out, "Lot 32 military surplus dog about 6 years old. No papers, no guarantees. Starting bid at $50. The crowd snickers. "That mutt's half dead," someone yells. "Ain't worth a dime." Bid zero. The auctioneer drops it to $20, then $10. Still nothing. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Here's this loyal creature reduced to a punchline, his dark eyes staring into nothingness like he's given up on the world that gave up on him first. Jack's heart clenches. He's seen that look before in the mirror after a bad night, or in the eyes of buddies who didn't make it home. Without a word, he steps forward, his voice cutting through the noise like a rifle crack $5. Heads turn, chuckles fade. The gavel slams down. Sold. Just like that, for less than a tank of gas, Max belongs to Jack. But as Jack approaches the ring, crouching low to avoid startling the poor guy, he notices something glinting under Max's matted fur. A faded military tag etched with Elite Canine Initiative Subject 214. Wait, what? This isn't just any stray. This dog's got a history tied to the shadows of secret programs. Twist, as Jack clips on a loose leash. Max flinches violently at the touch, revealing a fresh burn mark hidden beneath the tag, like someone tried to erase his past but left the pain behind. Boom, sudden realization hits Jack. This auction wasn't random. Max was dumped here to disappear. Now let's talk real talk for a second, friends. This isn't just a feel-good tale. It's a mirror to our world. Every year, thousands of dogs like Max end up in auctions or shelters because of overbreeding in puppy mills. Think those heartbreaking USDA reports exposing facilities cramming animals into wire cages, leading to neglect and abuse. The cause: greed, plain and simple breeders chasing profits without a thought for the lives they're ruining. The consequence: lifelong trauma, dogs with anxiety, aggression, or worse, euthanized because no one sees their potential. Compare it to veterans like Jack, discarded by a system that trains you to be unbreakable, then leaves you broken. A common mistake: assuming tough love or quick fixes heal deep wounds, that just pushes them deeper underground. The lesson here: empathy isn't optional. It's the spark that ignites change. One small act like Jack's bid can rewrite a tragic fate. Remember that next time you scroll past a rescue post, your $15 could be someone's lifeline. As Jack loads Max into his beat-up truck, the lab's body trembling like a leaf in a storm, he whispers, "You're safe now, buddy. We're heading home." But home. That's where the real battle begins. the slow, gritty road to trust in the untamed Colorado wilderness. Stick around. You won't believe what happens next when old ghosts start knocking. Ever wondered if silence could speak louder than 1,000 commands? In the heart of the Rocky Mountains, where the wind whispers secrets through ancient pines. Jack Thompson and his new companion Max are about to learn that healing isn't a sprint. It's a marathon through the soul's darkest valleys. The drive back to Jack's ranch is a quiet one, the old truck rumbling over gravel roads that twist like forgotten memories. Max huddles in the back seat. Not in a crate, Jack wouldn't dream of caging him after what he's seen, but curled up tight, eyes darting at every shadow outside the window. The ranch itself is a slice of solitude. 300 acres of wild Colorado wilderness, with a weathered cabin that smells of pine sap and old coffee barns echoing with the ghosts of long-gone cattle, and skies so vast they make a man feel small. Jack's been here since his discharge, piecing together a life away from the chaos of war. But now he's got company, and it's the kind that forces you to face your own demons. From day one, Jack knows better than to push. No leashes yanking Max around, no stern commands, barking orders like a drill instructor. Instead, he sets out a bowl of fresh water and kibble in the barn, then just sits. Leaning against a hay bale, arms crossed over his faded army jacket, Jack starts talking not to fill the air, but to share the weight. "You know, Max," he says softly, staring at the rafters. "I used to flinch at fireworks too. Back in Afghanistan, every boom was a reminder that tomorrow wasn't promised." Max doesn't move at first, his body a tense coil, ears flat, refusing even a sip of water. Days blur into this rhythm. Jack chores around the ranch, mending fences, feeding a couple of horses, always leaving the door open for Max to watch from afar. The lab follows eventually, but at a distance, like a shadow afraid of its own form. Then comes the breakthrough, slow and sweet, like dawn creeping over the peaks. One evening, as thunder rolls in from a gathering storm, Colorado's wild weather turning the sky into a battlefield. Max freezes, trembling so hard the barn floor vibrates. Jack doesn't grab him. He slides down to the ground back against the wall and keeps talking. "Rain used to send me under the bed, buddy. Sounded too much like incoming fire. But here's the thing. It passes. Always does." Hours tick by, the storm raging outside, mirroring the flashbacks Jack fights off in his mind. Sandstorms in the desert, buddies lost in the dust. And then, in the dead of night, Max inches forward, belly low, until his head rests just barely against Jack's boot. It's not a hug, not yet, but it's trust cracking through the ice. By morning, Max nibbles at his food for the first time, tail giving the faintest wag. But let's pause here, folks, because this isn't just heartwarming fluff. It's a lesson straight from the trenches of real life. Studies from the ASPCA show that dogs like Max, traumatized from harsh military-style training, exhibit PTSD symptoms eerily similar to humans' hypervigilance, startle responses, even avoidance behaviors that can last years. The cause: brutal methods, shock collars, isolation, forced obedience that prioritize results over welfare, often in underground programs chasing government contracts. The fallout: these pups end up aggressive or withdrawn, leading to higher euthanasia rates in shelters. Compare that to success stories like therapy dogs in VA hospitals helping vets rebuild programs where patience wins, versus the common mistake of owners who bail too soon, thinking a quick fix like treats or scolding will magically erase the scars. Nah, rushing healing is like yanking a splinter half out. It just festers deeper. The takeaway: true bonds are built in the quiet moments, give time its due, and watch miracles unfold. If you've got a rescue at home acting skittish, try this. Sit with them, share your space, and let trust bloom on its own terms. It could change everything. Of course, just when things start feeling hopeful, life throws a curveball. During their first real walk along a mountain trail, Max finally trotting a few steps ahead, nose to the ground, like he's rediscovering joy, he suddenly bolts. Panic surges through Jack as Max vanishes into the underbrush heart, pounding like it's back in combat. He chases, calling out, until he finds Max cowering under a fallen log, pawing at his side. Kneeling down, Jack gently parts the fur. And there it is. The twist that hits like a gut punch. Not just scars, but a fresh surgical mark. Like something embedded a hidden tracking device, surgically implanted, pulsing faintly under the skin. Wait, what? This isn't random abuse. Max was engineered, marked for retrieval. Jack's blood runs cold. Someone's been watching all along. As Jack carries Max back to the ranch, cradling him like a fallen comrade, questions swirl like the gathering clouds. Who put that thing in there? And why does it feel like the past isn't done with them yet? Hang tight, because next up, shadows from Max's history start creeping in, unveiling a web of dark experiments that could shatter everything they've built. You won't want to miss how old ghosts turn into very real threats. What if the scars you see are just the surface, and the real wounds are buried deep in secrets someone's desperate to keep hidden? The Colorado nights are growing colder now, the kind of chill that seeps into your bones and makes the stars above Jack Thompson's ranch burn brighter, sharper, like they're watching. Inside the cabin, Jack sits by a crackling fire. Max curled up a little closer than before, his golden Labrador fur catching the glow. The trust they've been building feels fragile but real, until a phone call from Deputy Sarah Mills. Jack's old army buddy cracks that piece wide open. Sarah's voice is low urgent, like she's holding a live grenade. Jack, I dug into that tag on Max's collar. You're not gonna like this. She's uncovered a name, the Elite Canine Initiative. Not just a military program, but a shadowy operation run by private contractors turning dogs like Max into something more, something dangerous. And that surgical mark Jack found, it's no ordinary tracker. It's a prototype wired to monitor and control part of experiments most folks would call science fiction gone wrong. Flash back to a grim Nevada compound years ago, where Max, then Subject 214, wasn't just trained, but engineered. Picture rows of steel cages, the air thick with antiseptic and fear, where Labradors and other breeds were subjected to relentless drills-forced runs until their paws bled electric shocks to motivate compliance, even experimental drugs to boost endurance. The goal: create super soldier dogs for private security firms obedient to a fault, unstoppable in combat. Max was their star until he wasn't. Sarah's intel reveals a chilling detail. Max once saved a handler's life during a live fire test, dragging him to safety under gunfire. But when he started resisting commands, showing signs of stress, they labeled him a failure. Instead of retirement, he was shipped to that auction to vanish. Twist Sarah's digging uncovers a leaked memo suggesting Max's tracker wasn't just for monitoring it, could remotely trigger pain to enforce obedience. Someone out there still wants control. Jack's hands tighten around his coffee mug as he listens Max's steady breathing at his side, the only thing keeping him grounded. He's been in dark places before, sand-swept outposts, ambushes where the air tasted like death. But this is a different kind of war. One where the enemy hides behind contracts and cash. Sarah's voice softens. There's more, Jack. The program's still active, and someone's asking questions about a Labrador that didn't make it to the incinerator. The words hit like a sniper's bullet. Max was supposed to be destroyed, erased like a faulty prototype. The realization burns Max isn't just a victim. He's a loose end in a multi-million-dollar scheme. Let's step back for a moment, because this isn't just a story, it's a wake-up call. Real-world parallels hit hard here. In the 2010s, exposés like those from PETA blew the lid off Pentagon-funded canine programs, revealing over 2,000 dogs euthanized yearly as surplus after serving in war zones or experiments. The cause profit-driven contractors cutting corners prioritizing budgets over ethics sound familiar. The fallout's brutal dogs with PTSD-like symptoms abandoned or killed when they're no longer useful. Compare this to human experiments like MKUltra, where consent was a myth, and you see the same chilling oversight treating living beings as tools. A common mistake. Assuming animals don't feel trauma the way we do. Science says Otherwise, studies show dogs experience stress disorders just like humans with cortisol spikes and memory triggers. The lesson: silence fuels abuse. Speaking up like Sarah's doing is the first step to breaking the cycle. For you animal lovers out there listening while driving or winding down, think about this. That shelter dog you passed by might have a story like Max's. Sharing their truth could save a life. But the plot thickens, and here's where it gets wild. As Jack hangs up, promising Sarah he'll keep Max close, he notices something outside, a faint glint in the tree line, like binoculars catching moonlight. His soldier instincts kick in. He grabs a flashlight Max at his heels and heads out. Under a pine, he finds fresh boot prints too clean for a hiker's and a cigarette butt still warm. Twist, tucked into the dirt, is a crumpled note scrawled in Sharpie: return, subject 214, or the ranch burns. Jack's pulse races. Someone's not just watching. They're closing in. Max growls low, his eyes locked on the darkness, no longer the scared pup from the auction, but a warrior sensing danger. Jack kneels beside him, whispering, "They'll have to go through me first, buddy." As the fire in the cabin dies to embers, Jack and Max stand guard. Two survivors staring down a threat that's no longer a ghost. What happens when the past doesn't just haunt you? It hunts you. Buckle up, because next, the fight gets personal and the stakes skyrocket as old enemies step out of the shadows with a plan that could tear everything apart. What do you do when the ghosts of your past don't just knock, they kick down the door, threatening everything you fought to protect? The Rocky Mountain air bites harder now, the kind of late autumn chill that makes your breath hang like a warning. Jack Thompson's ranch, once a quiet refuge, feels like a battlefield tonight. Inside the cabin, Max, the scarred Labrador retriever, lies close to the hearth, his eyes flicking toward every creak of the old wood floors. Jack's got his rifle propped by the door, not loaded, not yet. But a soldier's habit never fades. That note in the dirt, return, subject 214, or the ranch burns, sits heavy on his mind, its Sharpie scrawl burning like a brand. The elite canine initiative isn't done with Max, and now Jack's in their crosshairs too. But this isn't just about a dog anymore. It's about a fight for control, for freedom, for the right to heal. Days after finding the note, tension creeps into every corner of the ranch. Jack notices small things first: a gate left unlatched, tire tracks on the back road, too fresh for his neighbors, a flicker of light in the hills at dusk. Max senses it too. His ears stay pinned, his body low, like he's waiting for the blow he knows too well. Then comes the first real strike. One morning, Jack finds the barn's water pump, sabotaged pipes cut clean, leaving his horses and Max without a drop. It's no accident. It's a message. That night, Max bolts awake, barking furiously as a shadow darts past the window, a figure too quick to catch. Jack's heart pounds like it did in Afghanistan, but he keeps his cool, whispering to Max, "We've faced worse, haven't we?" The lab presses against him, steady but alert, their bond now a lifeline. Enter Victor Hale, the man behind the elite canine initiative, and his daughter Emily, all sharp edges and cold confidence. They show up unannounced at dawn, pulling up in a sleek black SUV that looks out of place against the ranch's dusty backdrop. Victor's got a politician's smile, but his eyes are pure predator. "Mr. Thompson," he says, voice smooth as ice, "that dog's ours. Proprietary asset worth millions. Hand him over, and we'll forget this little misunderstanding." Emily leans against the SUV, smirking, scrolling her phone like this is just another Tuesday. But here's the kicker. Victor drops a bombshell. Max's tracker isn't just a monitor. It's a biochip capable of delivering shocks or even lethal signals if recalled. They want him back, not for duty, but to breed more enhanced dogs for their black market empire. Jack's jaw tightens. "He's not your lab rat," he growls, stepping in front of Max, whose low snarl echoes like a warning shot. The confrontation escalates fast. Emily steps forward, taunting, "You think you're some hero saving a mutt? That dog's wired to obey us, not you." Max lunges, teeth bared, but Jack's firm hand on his collar holds him back just barely. Victor's smile doesn't waver. "You've got 48 hours, Thompson. Or we take what's ours." As their SUV peels out, Jack notices a glint under Max's fur, the chip signal pulsing faintly like a heartbeat of betrayal. Twist. Later that day, at a vet visit with Dr. Elena Ruiz, a trusted local, she runs a scan and gasps. Max's blood work shows traces of synthetic stimulants, drugs meant to keep him hyper-alert, addictive, and obedient. The chip's not just a tracker, it's a leash, and someone's still pulling the strings. Worse, Elena whispers, this tech's linked to a bigger operation shut down years ago, or so we thought. Jack's world tilts. The elite canine initiative isn't history. It's alive, and Max is their key to restarting it. Let's ground this in reality, because this hits closer to home than you'd think. Cases like the Beagle Freedom Project expose how animals are exploited in labs and training programs often for corporate profit. Over 70,000 dogs are used in U.S. testing annually, many enduring chemical injections or worse with no oversight. Sound like Max's story. The cause is simple greed over ethics, companies dodging regulations to cut costs. The consequence? Traumatized animals discarded when they're no longer useful, and whistleblowers silenced. Compare this to success stories like Ellen DeGeneres' work with rescue groups where advocacy leads to freedom, versus the mistake too many make, underestimating how far abusers will go to protect their secrets. Folks, if you're driving home or chilling with your pup, listen up. Those rescue ads aren't just noise. A donation or a share can disrupt these cycles. The lesson here: vigilance saves lives. Trust your gut when something feels off, because danger doesn't always knock, it creeps. But the storm's only brewing. That night, Max's chip pulses stronger, and he whimpers, pawing at his side like he's fighting an invisible shock. Jack's rage flares. He's not losing this fight. He calls Sarah, who's already on the case, digging deeper into the initiative's shadow network. As the moon rises over the Rockies, casting long shadows across the ranch, Jack and Max stand ready, two warriors against an enemy that's closing in fast. What happens when the fight turns from words to something darker? Hold tight, because next, the battle goes to court, and a single moment between Jack and Max could change everything, or cost them everything. You won't want to miss this. Can a single moment of trust between a man and a dog rewrite a story of pain, or will the past claim them both before they get the chance? The Denver courtroom feels like a pressure cooker, the air thick with tension as Jack Thompson sits at the defendant's table, his calloused hands folded, tight knuckles white. Max, the battle-scarred Labrador retriever, lies at his feet, not relaxed, but alert, his golden fur catching the harsh fluorescent light. Across the room, Victor Hale sits with his daughter Emily, both exuding smug confidence, flanked by lawyers in suits that cost more than Jack's truck. The judge, a stern woman with a no-nonsense stare, peers over her glasses at the packed gallery. Deputy Sarah Mills, Dr. Elena Ruiz, and a handful of locals who've heard whispers of Max's story. This isn't just about custody. It's about justice, about breaking a cycle of cruelty that's gone unchecked for too long. The hearing kicks off with Victor's lawyer, all polished charm, spinning a tale of proprietary rights. He claims Max, still tagged as Subject 214, is elite canine initiative property, a valuable asset from a legally compliant program. Jack's lawyer, a scrappy Denver native named Clara Voss, fires back. This isn't about contracts. It's about a living being who's suffered enough. She calls Dr. Elena to the stand, who lays it bare. Max's scars, burns, fractures, chemical residue in his blood, point to systematic abuse, not training. His PTSD mirrors combat veterans with panic triggers and avoidance behaviors. Sarah follows, presenting a damning file photos of Nevada Cage's whistleblower testimonies and a leaked video of dogs like Max collapsing under electric shocks. The gallery gasps. Even the judge's stone face twitches. Victor's smirk falters as Clara argues Max was discarded legally, adopted by Jack. He's no one's property. He's a survivor. Then comes the moment that stops time. As Victor's lawyer drones on about investment losses, Max, unprompted, rises from his spot. The courtroom falls silent. With a limp but steady gait, He crosses to Jack, presses his head against Jack's knee, and sits eyes locked on his protector. It's not trained obedience. It's a choice, raw and real. The judge leans forward, her expression softening for the first time. Twist. Elena reveals a last-minute find, a hidden signal log from Max's biochip, showing recent activation attempts prove someone tried to remotely control him during the case. The evidence is a gut punch. Victor's team isn't just greedy. They are actively endangering Max. The judge's gavel slams. Custody granted to Mr. Thompson. Mr. Hale and associates are barred from contact with this animal effective immediately. Victor's face twists, but he stays silent for now. Jack kneels, whispering, "We did it, buddy," as Max's tail gives a single soft thump. Months later, the ranch transforms. Jack, fueled by Max's recovery, converts his barns into Labrador Haven, a sanctuary for 50-plus dogs rescued from similar programs. He partners with veteran therapy groups, pairing pups with soldiers fighting their own battles. Max, once a trembling shadow, now greets new arrivals with calm confidence, a leader by example. Twist 1. Crisp morning. Elena visits with news. Max's blood work is clean. The drugs finally flushed out, and his first litter of pups is being trained as therapy dogs, turning his pain into a legacy of healing. Jack watches them play in the pasture, Max at his side, and murmurs, "We're not broken, are we?" Max's tail wags strong and sure under a Colorado sky painted gold. This isn't just a story, it's a mirror to our world. Groups like Warrior Canine Connection show how dogs heal veterans, with over 1,000 service dogs placed since 2011. But the flip side, shelters euthanize 600,000 dogs yearly due to overcrowding, often from failed training programs. The cause underfunded systems and lax oversight, letting operations like Victor's thrive. The fix, sanctuaries and advocacy, like the UK's guide dogs, thriving on community support. A common mistake. Thinking one person can't change this. Wrong. Every adoption, every donation shifts the tide. The lesson. Redemption's a daily choice, not a finish line. For you animal lovers out there driving or unwinding, carry this. Your voice can save a Max. Share a rescue post, volunteer, or donate. It's how we rewrite endings. Don't let Max's story fade with the credits. Right now, thousands of dogs are waiting in cages for their Jack. Visit organizations like the Beagle Freedom Project or Warrior Canine Connection, links in the description, or share this video with one friend who loves animals. If you've got a rescue story, drop it in the comments. Let's inspire each other. Subscribe and hit the bell, because we're diving deeper into stories of second chances, and you won't want to miss what's next. Together, we can make sure no dog or hero gets left behind.